Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com, and as you can see, we've been doing a little bit of work on our 2017 Yamaha Raptor 700R. Today, we're going to be focusing in on this side of the engine. So let's head over and look at the parts we're going to need to put this back together. We're going to get the stator mounted up, we're going to get our one-way clutch mounted to our flywheel, and one by one, each of these pieces is going to wander its way over to the engine. We're going to start with the chain tensioner guide as well as the chain. Now, if you need this particular parts list, check that link in the description below. It's got a shopping cart already ready to go with everything that you see on this bench. Now, if your machine's a little bit different, well, come to our website, Partzilla.com, and then drill down to your particular machine so you can get the correct parts. If you're still having trouble, then give us a call. That's what we're here for, and we can guide you to the correct parts for your application. Now that we've got all the parts together, let's go take a look at the tools that we're going to need. You're going to need a good bearing driver set, and most importantly, a flywheel holder. And as always, a good torque wrench. So now that we've got the tools and the parts in order, we can go get started on the build. So let's go. All right, let's go and get our chain in place as well as the chain guide. Then we'll come back, work with the stator and the one-way clutch. Get our guide in place. Now we're going to go get our bolts, and we're going to be putting Loctite on these bolts. Now we're going to take these to 7.2 foot-pounds. Next, let's go ahead and get the stator mounted to that outer cover. There's really only one way to install it. That little bolt is, it'll actually go in this little detent area. And we definitely want to use Loctite on here as well, as these bolts do not have a high torque value on them. It's only 5.1 foot-pounds. There's only 3 of these. Next, let's go ahead and get our pickup mounted. Of course, you want the pickup facing toward the stator, the face of the stator. A little bit more Loctite. And these little guys get 5.1 foot-pounds. We'll just lay that to the side for right now. And let's go ahead and get our starter clutch mounted up to the flywheel or magneto, whatever you want to call it. We want the clutch to be inside of the ring like this, and then this surface against the magneto. Get those lined up. As always, Loctite, and then we're going to torque these bolts to 22 foot-pounds. I think the challenge is going to be, can I actually hold this thing still? Yeah, the chances of me being able to hold this still with 22 foot-pounds on it, I think is kind of slim. So let's go get that holder, get it held in place, then we can get it torqued down. So we've got our flywheel ready to go with the starter clutch. There's one more piece we need to put in the housing. It's actually for the torque limiter, which is this. It's a pair of bushings that actually are going to give it a surface to ride on. So there's one that needs to go in here, and then one that's going to go on the engine case side. So let's get those pushed in. That looks like it. Let's go ahead and get that done on the engine side. You wouldn't want to leave this off. Now we're getting ready to put on the one-way starter gear and the magneto. Want to make sure that you get this washer in place. Before we install that, let's get a little bit of oil. Now, let's get our starter wheel in place. A little bit of oil on this surface. Now go ahead and get our key in place. We want to tap it in where that leading edge is facing down just a hair so it can engage with the magneto. Line up on your key, and as you're bringing it in, you may have to rotate that gear in the back. to get it to settle in. All right, that in place. Now let's get on our washer, non-directional, then a 22 millimeter bolt. And once we get the holder on there, we're going to torque it to 43 foot-pounds. At this point, I'm not willing to see if that can withstand 43 foot-pounds. So we're going to put a bar on it. I'm going to have somebody come over and help me hold it. Then we'll go ahead and put that 43 foot-pounds on there. A little bit more. That's it. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of oil on these next pieces that are going together. The shaft, idler gear, and then this torque dampener. All right, set our gear in place, and then bring the pin to it. There we go. Get this one in place. All right, a little bit later in the game, we'll have the starter mounted in here. It'll engage with that torque converter, and then that goes through the idler gear. It grabs this one-way clutch. That's what starts your engine. So let's go ahead and get our dowels in place. Then the gasket. Now before we put the cover on, we need to put a little bit of sealant around here and here. Now if you have an older machine, they show a bracket that actually goes in here that held in the wiring. On the newer models, it's just not used. It's no longer available. So no, I didn't miss that. One more dab of oil here and here. Let's get her put in place. Try not to get your fingers caught, because that magnet in there is going to pull on that cover pretty hard. All right, she's flush. Let's get our bolts. So all these bolts are the same length. Get them all in place, get them snugged down, and then we'll take them to 7.2 foot-pounds. So let's go ahead and take care of the seal and the O-ring and then the output gear on our output shaft. Start by getting our O-ring in place. There's a groove on the output shaft that it's going to lay into. At this point, we want to go ahead and get our seal in place. Not a lot of pressure required to get it even. You can actually just push it in with your thumbs. Let's go ahead and get some oil on that seal as well as on the O-ring that's inside, because there's going to be a collar that fits down over the top of that O-ring. You want to make sure that this section is the part that faces in. And you're going to push it down over that O-ring. You'll hear it pop. Next, there's a plate cover that fits over the top of it. And I would imagine they came up with this to keep that seal safe. If you think about how much stuff is going to be brought up by the chain as it's being ridden, this would be a easy way for that seal to get damaged, but then have this plate in front of it. All right, we're going to go ahead and put our output sprocket on. Also going to put on its locking tab. But what we're going to do is just put this on hand tight, because we're not able to really get this thing torqued down until it is actually mounted inside of a frame and the chain is able to hold this still. So this is just going to be hand tight for right now, and I'll just make a big note of it when the engine gets installed. Hey, go back and tighten this up, otherwise you're going to have a bad day. Next, while we're on the side, let's go ahead and get our reverse and neutral switches in place. Now, odds are these are exactly the same unit as far as how they operate, but in the diagrams they show the black one as being the reverse. Reverse is down at the bottom, and the neutral one goes above it. Then we're going to torque this to 12 foot-pounds. I wouldn't guess at this torque value, because if you were to strip that out, that would be tough to straighten out. Next, let's get on the oil pipe joint. Make sure that you've got the little crush washer there, and it's a 22 millimeter, and we're going to torque it to 36 foot-pounds. Once again, I don't think I would guess on this one. And since we're here, let's go ahead and put our drain bolt in. We're going to get it torqued to 17 foot-pounds. Once again, don't forget your little crush washer in there. Next, we have another oil pipe. Has this little dowel and the O-ring. Make sure that O-ring is in place. Otherwise, it is going to leak. And we'll take it to 7.2 pounds. Now would be the time I'd go ahead and put this reverse arm on. This engine actually is going to get shipped, and if I leave it out like that, it's going to get bent. So at this point, you get that 8mm head bolt for this location, torque it to 7.2 pounds. But we're going to save that for later. Okay, with that wrapped up, let's go ahead and rotate her up and get the speed sensor mounted. Put a little bit of oil on that O-ring. Make it easier to get it into the cases. $5mm Allen head, and we're going to torque that to 7.2. All right, I will have to take these out later, but let's go ahead and put these inspection caps in place, just so they don't get lost. All right, guys, that wraps up this particular video. Listen, if you need any parts for your machine, particularly the ones that we used on this build, why don't you check that link in the description below, and that'll take you straight to it. If you have any questions or comments, leave that in the section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Listen, we just want to say thanks for shopping here with us at Partzilla.com, and we will see you in the next video. Have a great day.